I rejected a woman once. She started crying and threw her shoe at me and said, "You wouldn't have a chance with me anyway." I was just like, "Okay." And then a bunch of simps got all in my face like, "Not cool, bro." So far, things are going great with the 7 guys. Bae number 1, just me and you, bae. Bae number 2, just you, baby. Bae number 3, I only want to be with, it's just you. Bae number 4, yes, bae, you the only one on God. Bae number 5, on God, you the only one. Wow, these 5 totally different individual people sound very similar. I remember when I used the bus to get to and from work, I noticed it was always the same group every morning. I silently assigned nicknames to everyone: workout girl, gym bag, hoodie man, Burnside ladies, etc. I was out on a medical leave for 5 weeks, and on my first day back to work, I got on the bus and the bus driver scolded me for not telling him I was going to be gone. He told me for 3 days he waited an extra 5 minutes in case I was running late. Aww. And as I was walking to my unassigned designated seat, I hear the others muttering, "Hey, early girl is back." People do not do this. People don't like other people anymore. That's just not a thing. People do not assign nicknames to you. Sorry. On my son's first birthday, I took him to the orphanage, donated money in boxes full of groceries, cut the cake with the kids, and distributed chocolates, cakes, and stationery items. The joy in their faces was priceless. The way they sang for my kid and danced, and on the second year again, I did the same for his second birthday too. We'll continue the same. I know people have their own ways of celebrating happiness, but I believe when God provides you, it's your duty to provide the one who doesn't have. Who doesn't have what? My high school had such a large population of emos that when My Chemical Romance broke up, they announced it via the PA and offered extra counseling that day. No, they didn't. I'm the guy who got rejected for having a cow picture on my wall. So about a month or so ago, I posted here saying I was rejected for having a cow picture in my background, and I had a little update in it that said I had another interview that day at a private school. Well, I got the job and have been here for 2 weeks. Now the bad news. No one has been paid. Not the teachers, not the support staff, no one. Our payday was yesterday and we were told they were switching banks and the wire transfer hadn't cleared yet and to expect payment today. Well, nope, haven't been paid. Now they are pushing back to the end of the day and possibly next week, which Monday is a holiday here, so it probably won't be until Tuesday. Like, what the actual hell is going on? 2 of the custodians haven't been paid in a month. 1 teacher walked out last week in the middle of a meeting. A few weeks ago, I was being nosy and eavesdropping on a conversation between the superintendent and all the operating staff. I heard we lost a sponsor and teachers are voicing concerns, and also heard, what are we going to do? Like, I've worked over 40 hours. I've provided a service and they need to provide compensation. Sorry for this, I'm just pissed and wanting to rant. This sucks so much. My tattoo artist shat his pants during session. Non-fiction. The majority of Reddit loves my stories, with a few who live boring lives and don't believe anything ever happens. Here's another pointless story people probably won't believe. I was getting my first big tattoo done on my arm when I started to feel lightheaded and sick. I told my tattoo artist and he stopped inking immediately, sat my chair back, got me water and glucose tablets, etc. While I was recovering, he asked, "Is it okay if I go to the bathroom really quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, buddy. It's gonna take me a while to recover anyway." Well, he was in there for a while. When he finally came back, he was wearing different pants. He started inking me again, and I don't know why he decided to confess this to me, but he said, "I just want you to know, while you were recovering, I thought I had to fart. It wasn't a fart. I just shat my pants. My tattoo came out beautifully." Yeah, that happened. Why in the hell would he tell you that? Like, genuinely. I got fired. So, my company is downsizing and everyone is scared of getting laid off and change. Lots of rumors and negative talk going on, so my boss called a meeting. She was sadly hysterical and showing her emotions on people talking about the issues and told everyone they should keep their opinions and thoughts to themselves and quit spreading rumors and negative information. In my best Soviet accent, I quoted the Communist Party member on Chernobyl. When the people ask questions that are not in their own best interest, they should simply be told to keep their minds on their labor and leave matters of the state to the state. To say she wasn't pleased, her boss wasn't pleased, I didn't care or show remorse because I already have a thing lined up, just gave me a little time back before my next job. My first time getting fired and it was kind of beautiful. Why would you speak in a Soviet accent? Like, that is that is cringe. I'm sorry. What is the big deal if some random dude peeks at your dick? I really don't get this. Who is weirder, the curious dude taking the gander or the one complaining? If you pull it out in public, expect to have it seen. On a separate note, at JJ Bang, I've seen a lot more intense stares. Once at a JJ Bang near Exit 5 in Gangnam, I got applauds when I dropped pants. Not sure what the reason though. At that time, I was in peak shape ever. Good lean muscles, 4-pack, etc. So they may have wanted to say, good shape, dude. Yeah, when I'm in the restroom and I'm at the stalls taking a piss, I glance over and I'm like, yo, man, nice. Whoa, what are you looking at me like that for? If you didn't want it to be seen, why'd you pull it out? Nah, I lost my phone over 8 months ago and had no idea what happened to it. Literally vanished. Today I took an Uber and my Uber driver goes, hold on, I have something for you, and hands me my lost phone. He said he held onto it in case by chance he picked me up again. So he knew who the phone belonged to and waited 8 months. He didn't find any way to contact you or track you down. Huh? My ex's 13-year-old sister invited me to Thanksgiving dinner, and y'all better bet I'm going. My dad, there is no way in hell you are going. Me, if you think anything you say is going to keep me from my ex's aunt's apple pie, you are severely mistaken. The plot thickens. My ex isn't even going to be there. Deadass, they replaced him with me. Grabbing meds and soup, and I noticed this little girl begging her mom for this, but her mom said she couldn't afford it. They didn't see me. Well, with how my parents raised me and gave me a second chance at life, I can't help but love paying it forward. So I got it for her without them knowing. They left the store. I had a huge smile on my face, stoked to surprise her. Well, I caught up to them, gave it to her. She opened the bag. She had a smile so big, she cried. Her mom cried, then I cried. She said no one has ever done anything like that for her or her family, ever that she's been going through a long time. Her daughter has some form of child cancer. That lump was growing because this little girl was so beautiful. Mom asked how much for the stuffed animal backpack. I said absolutely nothing, and that the smiles they had on their faces were payback enough. It doesn't take much to be a good person. My payback were those smiles that will be embedded in my soul forever. For me, that is the best type of repayment. Hope that made her day. If I've inspired you with any of the posts I posted, blah blah blah, don't care, please learn punctuation. Hypothetically, on a packed bus, you stand to offer your seat to an elder, but before they can sit, someone else takes it. What's your move? Had that happen, I got up to let an elderly gentleman sit. A young punk took the seat. I told him the seat was not for him. He told me to f*** off. The driver, overhearing this, stopped the bus. The punk was told to get off or be put off. He started to speak. I told him if he didn't get off the bus, I would remove him. I was not in a good mood. I guess I had that look on my face. The older fellow was laughing. And everyone clapped. Recruiter told hiring manager not to hire my wife. Recruiter told hiring manager he couldn't hire my wife because she was unqualified and he preferred a different candidate. HM said, tough luck, I'm the HM, it's my decision. HM drafted offer letter anyway, and recruiter protested the hourly pay amount, demanding he lower it. HM had to get the director over recruiting into his office to stop the madness. Recruiter communicated all this via emails, which HM kept forwarding to my wife so she'd be in the loop and know what he was taking so long in the hiring process. Best hiring manager ever. Edit, I'm not the hiring manager, I quoted the hiring manager. Edited, post for clarity. I was at the doctor's because of suspected appendicitis, and the doctor was going through my medication list and said, why are you taking testosterone? I said, because I was prescribed it by a doctor. She said, why? Your levels are normal. I said, my levels are normal according to your testing measurements, but I feel great and it's changed my life for the better, having a higher range number. The doctor rolled her eyes. She said she can't believe doctors prescribe testosterone and that it could be a contributing factor to my appendicitis. End rant. That happened. Did the nurses clap? Okay, so holy hell. I snapped my fingers like a lot, and I snapped them really good and loud, and this lady the next aisle over replied as soon as I snapped, I'm your good girl. And her husband said, that wasn't me, babe. I am dead. Me. Just shut up and enjoy it. Customer. What? Me. Sorry, talking to myself. Customer. I need to talk to myself like that. And then he said it and strutted out. Rock on, king. Why are females expected to wear the most tight-fit revealing clothing? F18. I went out yesterday to buy some clothes, and when I was checking out, some lady behind me said she probably bought a bunch of BS that won't even fit her properly, just because I was wearing an oversized hoodie. Even in high school, I got bullied for wearing loose clothing, and by the end of the year, someone said that's what she gets for leaving too much to the imagination. I was at a Sports Clips one time. Lil dude crying because he was having his head shaved. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I grew up affected by cancer. My great-grandmother breast cancer, grandmother the same. My mom had cancer that spread. She is in remissions now. So I said to the girl cutting my hair, shave my head. As we are almost done with it, she goes, what? Are you serious? And then she looked over and saw and goes, I got you, sweetheart. She shaved my head. The kids saw me getting my head shaved, and I played it off like, oh yeah, I always cut my hair this way. It's so cool to do and looks really good. Plus you can use Expo marker on it and wipe it off for fun. And he laughed. I walked out and cried. I am a 25-year-old young man, and I would have traded places with that boy. A child shouldn't have to go through that. Crying hearts. Same here. No child deserves to go through something like that. I would usually switch places with any of them. My best friend's 12-year-old son had asked me what political party I was a part of. I said Republican. He said, OMG, me too. Republicans are lit. They like lower taxes and shut the fuck up. Next post. Teacher gives us the middle finger and tells us to fuck off, ends up crying in a meeting with the principal/headmaster. So this happened a really long time ago, like when I was still 7 or so. When I was still in primary school, me and a classmate were talking during lunch break. We spoke for a bit and didn't realize class was starting again. Our teacher walked over to us, hunching over, and told us, if you don't want to be here, you can fuck off, while giving us the middle finger for a solid 10 seconds or so, before heading back to the front of the classroom. Now, I know that me and my classmates should have noticed that the lunch break was ending, but 7-year-old me knew that the fuck off and middle finger were bad things to do. I could have left it there and went on with my day, but young old me decided to tell my parents. I'm not 100% sure if it was my parents or if it was the parents from my classmates around us who told the other parents, but the story about a teacher flipping a kid off quickly spread to the other parents and quickly reached to the headmaster of the school and principal. When I was 9, I accidentally farted in class and I didn't want anyone to notice, so I acted like I was turning to a werewolf and started howling and pissed on the floor, but my teacher called the ambulance and they sent me to a mental hospital. So proud of my youngest. She was in line for lunch at school today. It was French toast sticks and sausage. That sounds so good. The boy in the front of her said no to the sausage and she called him a communist. She's in kindergarten. Hashtag proud parent. No kid knows or cares about what a communist is. Once in kindergarten, a girl asked me to write Supergirl on her arm since I was the only kid who could write, so I wrote shit on her arm, and I hid under the table for like 30 minutes, and then the teacher found me and yelled at me and then called my parents, and my dad laughed so hard he cried. I'm waiting in line at Chipotle, and the lady in front of me was scrolling through Facebook, and I was being a little nosy, so I was looking over her shoulder, and she literally scrolled past one of my posts, and then she scrolled back up to read it, and then she heart reacted it, and I was a little excited, so I was like, thanks for heart reacting my post, and she was like, that's you? And I said, yes, that post went viral, so it's not a shock that it ended up on your feed, and she was like, I'm not surprised either, you're speaking facts, and now her and I are friends. Okay. Last night, my cis-het 6'1" white son called me as he was walking home from practice to tell me how it went. Partway through, he said, this is a really nice walk home. I'm glad I have the privilege to take it at night and not worry about my safety. I reminded him that it's not enough to recognize his privilege. He also needs to make sure he isn't making women uncomfortable. He said, I know, Mom. I always cross to the other side. That recognition of privilege and safety took 30 seconds. I'm gonna keep this in mind. I'll be sure to ask any woman that I walk past, hey, am I making you uncomfortable? Just let me know. If I'm making you uncomfortable, please let me know. I'll look them right in the eyes as I ask them. I was in the elevator coming off a rough shift and an older couple got in with me. The man said that I was brave to wear my pride pin because we don't tolerate your kind around here. And I was like, you don't tolerate doctors? Sir, are you aware that you're in a hospital? Y'all, my son woke me up out of my sleep crying and said, Mommy, I know you're tired of working, trying to make it better for me and my sister. I'll go work for you today. This made me cry. He's only 1. Before I got off the plane at Munich, I asked the air steward if I could have a word with the pilot. He gave me a knowing smile and took me to the cockpit. No, he did not. Here's the conversation. Me, flying over the distance we've flown at the speed we've flown at. As the pilot, you'd have to dip the nose of the plane at regular intervals to allow for the curvature of the Earth. Do you do that? Pilot, no, I don't. So you just fly straight, no nose dipping at all? Correct. So does that mean you're flying over a flat surface then? Yes. So there's no curvature? No, no curvature. So if there's no curvature, that means Earth is not a sphere. Correct. It's flat. Knowing smiles all around. Yeah, more like smiles of, wow, this guy's a fucking dumbass. Is that the road Crybaby Bridge is on? It's been at least 45 years since I've been out there, but I believe that is where Crap Baby Bridge is at. When my daughter was in junior high and high school, the kids liked to go out there. A few parents got together and we got under the bridge one night when we knew they were coming. We had bought baby dolls at Goodwill, we had baby powder and squeezed the bottles when they were standing on the bridge and started throwing doll parts at them. We had people in the woods that were running chainsaws too. It was quite comical. I don't think they ever asked to go back. We had a smoke machine too that we turned on when they got there, scared the shit out of them. Haha. Stop narking. I brought a watering can to dinner tonight because a friend had given it to me earlier. As I was leaving the restaurant, a woman told a waiter, "She's stealing your watering can." And then I had to be like, "This is actually mine," which is embarrassing for no reason. I remember this one time a woman told the security guards at a library that my mom has snuck some books in my clothes. I was 5. They made us step into a tiny room and strip down to check. That was embarrassing and we never returned to that library again. Picked out a cake at Major? Asked a bakery-looking employee if she could write on it for me. She said she would, and after a long time she came and presented me with this cake. I looked her in the eye and said thank you before I even looked at the cake. After looking, I nervously laughed and headed to check out. It didn't really matter to me that it looked so bad. I thought people would think it was funny. The cashiers at the self-checkout didn't think it was so funny though, and called a few more cashiers and a manager over to look, even taking pictures. To my surprise, after they discussed it, one cashier put her arm on my shoulder and said, "The girl who wrote that has autism. Thank you for smiling and thanking her. Even though she's not supposed to write on cakes, you probably made her day." So I guess the moral of the story is that kindness is important. My son is deaf and I am hearing. When standing on a line in a grocery store, my son and I will have a conversation in sign language. The lady behind me didn't know I was hearing, and she said to the man with her, "Oh, what a waste, they are deaf." I quickly turned around and gave her my unfiltered opinion on her remark. Let's just say she left her shopping cart and walked out. The store employees applauded me and clapped. Oh, good job. I was telling my 7-year-old daughter a story about her brother when he was little, and she said I was just a ghost soul when trying to find you. I'm glad I did. I cried and reached for her hand. She patted it and pushed it away. There, pull yourself together. Sweet and savage. The first one happened to me. When I took my English proficiency exam, I was so nervous that I answered the first 2 questions in Spanish. The funny part is, I don't even speak Spanish. It's 84 degrees out and I see a dog sitting in a car with the windows completely shut and the engine off, and the dog was heavily panting. So I decided to stand outside of the stranger's car for about 10 to 15 minutes until the person came back, and 30 minutes go by and they still haven't came back. So I checked to see if the door was unlocked, which it was, and so I... You checked after 10 to 15 minutes? No, 30 minutes. You waited 30 minutes to check if the door was unlocked. And so I opened the door to let the dog get fresh air, and then this guy and his girlfriend finally come back, and the guy started yelling at me. So I told him, you know it's animal abuse leaving a dog in a vehicle on a summer day with the windows shut, right? And he was like, I don't care. And I was like, well, you should. You're literally abusing your dog. And he was like, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, nothing. Just be a better human being. And he was like, get lost, Charles Manson. So I looked at his girlfriend and I asked if she wanted to be one of my followers, because Charles Manson had a cult following, get it? And she smirked at me, and her boyfriend saw that and started yelling at her and shoved her in the car. And I was like, you're also abusive to her as well? And then I signaled for her to roll her window down, and I told her, search Sean Mata Rose on Facebook and add me so I can steal you from him and treat you right. And she smiled again. Lol. If you ever find me and see this, you deserve so much better than that. LOSER. So I don't get it. Are you trying to make people believe you care about animals, or are you just trying to look like a douchebag who steals girlfriends from men? Like, fucking, you're the loser, man. I ask my kids, would you rather have cash or stock in a great company? My kids, that's silly. Why would I choose cash when it's losing value? Obviously, stock in a great company is better. Dude, kids do not give a single fuck about stocks. I don't even care about stock. I didn't even know what stocks were until like a couple years ago. No kid care. They would say, yeah, cash, because they know what that is. They know what money is. I don't understand these posts. See, my kids think this. So clearly they have made an educated choice. No, why would I listen? Why would I give a shit about what kids say? This is inspired by another post where someone felt that the air hostess was interested in him. In my case, the story began when the flight was delayed 3 times on the 24th of August. I was calm and was the last one to board the flight. I am known for my one-liners. No, you're not. And as soon as I entered the aircraft, I quietly told the hostess, "It is Christmas." She replied, "No, when?" I replied, "Well, we departed in this flight at last. It is indeed a Christmas miracle." She held my hand, this was after everyone had boarded, and started laughing. I too smiled. I really felt that she was into me. She gave me a smile when deplaning. Where's the one-liner? You said you were known for... Where? You just said a thing. My dad's mate overslept his alarm and had to get on a flight within an hour, so he shoved all the clothes on his bed into his suitcase, but when he got to the airport, he found out he'd packed his fucking cat. I'm not even lying. So I went on a date with this rich guy last night and took my 6-year-old daughter Kayla with me because I don't have a babysitter, and he had the nerve to act shocked that she's there. Out of nowhere, Kayla goes, "Hey man, if you want to date mama, then we come as a package deal. So I demand you buy her the finest steak, a bottle of their best wine, and pay for us to get home or you won't see her again." The table of girls whooped Kayla on, and I swear he turned to the waiter and ordered 3 of the finest steaks for his future wifey and stepdaughter, and the tables around us cheered for all 3 of us. Okay. When I was 13, I wrote my crush a letter confessing I liked him, but I accidentally turned it in as my English homework, and when my teacher saw it, he told me to stay after class and then confessed he had feelings for me. This is not funny at all. What if someone's like, "Oh, well, let me find that teacher and start, investigating and asking questions, and, what if they're a creep, all because you made a fucking lie TikTok for clout." One time, my ex and I were arguing in the car, and then he said, "I'm going to crash the car." So then I was like, "I'll help you," and then grabbed the steering wheel and swerved us off the road just a little. Tee-hee. So then he said he was never going to say that again. So yeah, I know I'm a little crazy sometimes. Probs needs therapy, and also Probs one of the reasons we're not together anymore. Congratulations, you have just made yourself the biggest red flag ever. A long time ago, I went to a party during Fashion Week with my gay buddy who's a fashion designer and knows a tons of models. We went out of his way to tell every girl we talked to that I was single and straight. One girl didn't believe him and actually gave me a gay test. She asked a couple random questions and then asked me the color of her tiny, barely there shirt. I looked down and saw it was some kind of light reddish color, but between not knowing the color and being very distracted, I ended up just staring for about 10 seconds. I didn't even say a color before my buddy said, "Told ya," and she nodded and said, "Yup, definitely straight." This video just reminded me about it for the first time in 20 years. Turned out to be a great night, as that was the only test I was ever glad I failed. I had an interview today and I totally rocked this question. Interviewer: "How would you explain DNA to an 8-year-old? Me: "I would tell them that DNA is like Legos." It's Lego, by the way. Like 4 different colored Lego. Individually, they can't do much, but when you build them in a certain order, you can make different things, like a house or a tree or little Lego people. It's the same in your body. 4 different DNA molecules fit together to create the unique you. Interviewer: Brief pause. "That's a really good answer." Me: "Thank you. I like Lego and science." 2 a.m. at a Denny's, a drunk girl was getting me mad. I was with my then boyfriend sitting in a booth. I was eating when I looked up at the next booth to see a big gal staring in my face. Then she whispered to her boyfriend and laughed and looked back at me. This happened 2 more times. She was clearly drunk. I left and got in my car. I got Denny's number and called it. The waitress answered. I said, "Can you tell me if my daughter is there? She is rather large and quite loud." I watched as the waitress walk her over to the girl. She waddled towards the front counter behind the waitress. When the girl said, "Hello, Mom?" I said, "No, you fat ass bitch, it's not your mom." She started screaming and crying. She threw the phone onto the counter. She then stormed back to her booth. Although I was petty, I was satisfied with then outcome. Sounds to me like you don't know how to mind your own business and you were too concerned with what this other person was saying about you, when you could just mind your own business. To me, I don't like to use this word in a derogatory fashion often, but it sounds to me like you were the bitch. I asked him what he wanted to accomplish in kindergarten, and he said he wanted to learn how to successfully transplant a variety of native plants without them dying and also get really good at chess. So that's what we're doing. This is homeschooling. Hey yo, ain't you going on a date with that girl from algebra tomorrow? Yeah, why? Bro, look what she posted on her private snap. SOS, will someone have a fake B-day dinner with me tomorrow night so I can get out of going on a date? Thanks. Reminds me once Baba was cleaning his car outside and this man came and nudged him once trying to snatch his phone, and Baba said, okay, I'll give, but then he nudged again and Baba got angry and hit the man and said, I said I was going to give it, why did you have to push a second time? Y'all, tell me why when I was walking in the hospital today, this guy behind me said, and that's why I'm in love with nurses. Got my blood tested. F21 vegan for 5 years now, got a blood test and the doctor told me that I'm gonna live till I'm 120. I'm not even a super healthy vegan, my diet is mostly carbs and healthy fats, my creatine levels were lower than the range, but he said that's a good thing. He congratulated me for being vegan for so long and said it's the best thing one could do for health. It just makes me happy to finally hear this after years of being called malnourished and unhealthy for being vegan. He told me to celebrate and that people would love to have my blood. No one gives a shit that you're vegan. Like, good for you. That's cool, but no one cares. My grandpa has a date tonight and he's really old and in a wheelchair and has to drag around this breathing machine, but he's just sitting there waiting for the hospice shuttle to take him to pick up his date and he looks super excited and it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Update, he came home and I asked him how it went and he said, I should have taken an extra tank of oxygen because she took my breath away. I'm at a Walmart with my niece and I saw this guy yelling at his girlfriend because I guess she forgot to grab some items he needed from another aisle, since I heard him say to her, you suck at remembering things, next time just stay in the fucking car. And I was already passing by them, so I told the guy to relax and he was like, don't get involved. And I was like, you're yelling at your girlfriend in public for everyone to see and hear. Someone is bound to get involved. And then my 6-year-old niece said to his girlfriend, you deserve someone who talks to you nicely. And she looked at her boyfriend and told him that she's been secretly talking to her mom about moving back in with her so that she can get away from him, and then she broke up with him and then high-fived my niece for giving her the boost she needed. Can we get a round of applause for my niece for helping to get someone out of a toxic relationship? No. My gym trainer said, you already look perfect, why you want to waste your money? As one black lady I spoke with today in New Orleans said, Trump's a gangsta. That means he has cred among a new block of voters. I parked in a sergeant major parking spot today and was immediately questioned. Excuse me, that's sergeant major and colonel parking. I said, oh, I know, thanks. Are you a sergeant major or colonel? I replied, yes, ma'am, have a great day. Can I see your ID card? Because I'm a nice guy in a good mood. I said, of course, here you go. She said, my apologies, you look too young to be a sergeant major or colonel. I'll take that as a compliment, I replied. Look, we choose how we react to situations, and I love my military community, even when they're not very trusting. Got profiled in public. Anecdotal story time. I had the day off work and was getting all my errands done that I normally have to save for the weekend. I just finished my grocery trip and noted the Dairy Queen drive-thru. I haven't had a blizzard in about 5 years, and I also figured I felt like eating an irresponsible amount of ice cream. I pulled up to the window and the worker asks me, do you play Project Zomboid? Hesitantly reply with an affirmative, but also somehow uncertain yes. You looked the type. Proceed to pay for my ice cream and eat it while having a mild existential crisis about how my physical appearance is telling of my choice of video game. Manager kept farting during interview. I recently had a job interview after sending out 300 plus applications. I got an interview for an administrative health science data analyst position. The manager informed me at the beginning of the interview that he was feeling gassy. I wasn't sure what he meant, but I continued with the interview. About 7 minutes in, he lets out a loud fart. It cut me off mid-sentence, but I stayed cool and kept talking. A few seconds later, he lets out another stinky fart, and it really threw me off this time. I told him to stop farting or I would stop the interview because I felt like it was really unprofessional, but he just kept farting repeatedly. I finished the interview, but now I'm unsure if I should even pursue the job because I felt like he was being disrespectful. Should I still accept an offer if they give it to me, or should I reject? How do I proceed? I felt like this behavior was really disrespectful and unprofessional. I'm not sure anyone is brave enough to, like, people are terrified of farting around others. I really don't think this manager would just absolutely rip ass throughout your entire interview. I don't know. I don't buy it.